Hi, this is Tim again. This time I would like to show you a strategy on how to deal with sentences or question problems dealing with misplaced modifiers. Misplaced modifiers are one of the easiest ways for native speakers or people who speak very good English to make mistakes or to not see mistakes, because when native speakers or advanced English readers are reading English, they're reading from the meaning. They can often understand the meaning of the sentence, even if there may be a mistake like a misplaced modifier in the sentence. So to explain that, let me go to the book. I'll show you from the book. Let me share a screen. Dave French's Verbal Prep. Here we go. So, this is page 21. Misplaced modifiers. Modifiers are a group of words or a phrase that describe another word in the sentence. And for the sentence to work best, the modifier should come right after the word it modifies, or as closely as possible thereafter. For example, here we have a sentence. Let me get a pen here. Like Arizona, it gets really hot in Texas during the summer. The sentence is talking about Texas. It says Texas is like Arizona. However, the word Texas comes in the middle of the sentence. So really, so it's a misplaced modifier. Really, the word Texas should come right after the comma. Should be like Arizona, Texas gets really hot in the summer. That way, the sentence is better understood. Texas and Arizona are being compared. If we go further down here, another way to correct a misplaced modifier is when a sentence doesn't contain a clear subject. It says, while crossing the street, a car ran a red light. A car comes right after the comma. However, the clause at the beginning of the sentence, while crossing the street, it's missing the word I. It's missing the subject of the sentence. You could change it to, while I was crossing the street, a car ran a red light. That would take care of the misplaced modifier. Now, so we get to drill number 1. Here, first, you are supposed to find the incorrect sentences. Distinguish the correct sentences from the incorrect sentences. So we'll read number 1. While baiting his hook, a fish jumped into Bob's rowboat. It sounds pretty clear. However, the subject of the sentence is Bob. Bob comes towards the end of the sentence. Be a little bit clearer if we put Bob up here, right after the first clause in the sentence. While baiting his hook, Bob saw a fish jump into his rowboat. Number 2, steeped in a tradition of success. The New York Yankees have won more World Series championships than any other team. Now, the first part of the sentence, steeped in a tradition of success. Who was it that steeped in a tradition of success? It was the New York Yankees. That comes right after the comma. So we know it's correctly placed. So number 2 is correct. Number 3, first published in 1859 in 32 weekly installments, many literary experts believe A Tale of Two Cities to be Charles Dickens' best work. So the first part of the sentence, first published in 1859 in 32 weekly installments, what was it? It was A Tale of Two Cities. But A Tale of Two Cities comes farther down in the sentence. It should be moved right up here after the comma. So it would read, first published in 1859 in 32 weekly installments, A Tale of Two Cities is Charles Dickens' best work. There we've got it in the correct place. Number 4, though usually a calm person, Albert's patience could not withstand the heavy traffic. Again, it's fairly easy to understand the sentence. However, the first part of the sentence, though usually a calm person, doesn't contain a pronoun referring to the subject. It can be corrected by putting in the word he. Albert is he. So we could change it to, though usually he is a calm person, Albert's patience could not withstand that heavy traffic. The word Albert comes right after the comma. So we know Albert and he are connected. So no longer a misplaced modifier. Number 5, unlike dogs, which are much more social, cats tend to keep to themselves. So we've got dogs right after the comma here, which are much more social. Dogs are much more social. Cats tend to keep to themselves. The word cats comes right before keep to themselves. So they're both connected to the subjects are connected very close to the modifiers. Dogs, to which are much more social. Cats keep to themselves. So number 5 is correct. Then, so one of the first things to remember is to identify when modifiers are misplaced, when modifiers are in the wrong place. Another thing about modifiers is to remember about modifiers, there's restrictive and non-restrictive modifiers. And you'll see those problems in many sentences on tests. And a way to notice this, the way to see this clearly is, this sentence is, my son who went to law school just ran a marathon. When it says my son, that's the subject of the sentence, who went to law school, the son it identifies specifically is the one who went to law school. That's the son he's talking about. So who went to law school is an essential part of the sentence to describe who ran a marathon. The person talking may have several sons, but it was his son who went to the law school that just ran a marathon. The next sentence has the same wording. It says, my son, comma, who went to law school, just ran a marathon. The commas mean that who went to law school is a comment. It's a comment about my son. My son, who went to law school, just ran a marathon. The main part of the sentence is, my son just ran a marathon. When it's surrounded by commas, it means it's a comment about my son. That's called a non-restrictive modifier. Now we have some drills. It's getting a little bit harder. Number 1, my sister, who is allergic to shellfish, opened a seafood restaurant. Now, we're not necessarily absolutely certain about how many sisters she has here, but the way the sentence is written, it's written as if my sister who is allergic to shellfish opened a seafood restaurant. It's kind of a surprise that she opened a seafood restaurant, but when it says my sister who is allergic to shellfish, that sounds very much like it's essential information to identify my sister. He may have several sisters, but it's the one who is allergic to shellfish that opened a seafood restaurant. Sentence number 2 has the same wording. My sister Ellen, who is allergic to shellfish, opened a seafood restaurant. And I should remind you that in these type of problems, it has a part of the sentence underlined. The part of the sentence underlined is the one you have to decide whether it's correct or not. You can assume the part that's not underlined is correct. You have to decide if you need to change the part that's underlined. So my sister Ellen, comma, who is allergic to shellfish, opened a seafood restaurant. The way to understand that sentence must be that Ellen, that must be a comment that Ellen, who is allergic to shellfish, opened a seafood restaurant. So really, who is allergic to shellfish is a comment about Ellen. It's not essential to identify who Ellen is. It says, my sister Ellen, comment, who is allergic to shellfish, opened a seafood restaurant. Number 3, the airplane, which was delayed by rain, is finally ready for takeoff. When you read the sentence, there may well be other airplanes, but this airplane, which was delayed by rain, is finally ready for takeoff. In this case, since airplane, comma, which was delayed by rain, we can change that part of the sentence. That part of the sentence may be incorrect. And the part that's not underlined, you cannot change. We have to assume that's correct. We've got the airplane, which was delayed by rain. So the best way to understand this sentence is is that the airplane which was delayed by rain is finally ready for takeoff. So that specific airplane, the one that the essential information is, it was the one delayed by rain, goes with the airplane. So there does not need to be a comma there. We can take out the comma. The airplane which was delayed by rain is finally ready for takeoff. Now we get to number 4. Number 4, the majority of puppies which were born in its shelter have been adopted. Again, the underlined part is the part in question. The majority of puppies which were born in its shelter have been adopted. The best way to understand this is it's the majority of puppies, and the ones that majority of puppies that were born in that shelter. So it's the majority of puppies. It's essential information. The majority of puppies that were born in its shelter. So which were born in its shelter belongs to the puppies, so they don't need that comma. It's essential information to identify those puppies. It's not of the, it doesn't mean the group of all puppies. It means the puppies which were born in that shelter have been adopted. Number 5 is very similar wording, and we need to decide again about the comma there. It says the majority of puppies which are unable to see for the first 6 weeks of their lives have been paper trained. In this case, it's a correct sentence. We have the majority of puppies, comma, which are unable to see for the first 6 weeks of their life, comma, have been paper trained. So we know when it's surrounded by commas, we know that phrase is a comment about puppies. It's telling you among all puppies in general, they are unable to see for the first 6 weeks of their lives. So the surprising thing is they've been paper trained, even though all puppies are unable to see for the first 6 weeks of their lives. So the main part of the sentence is the majority of puppies have been paper trained, which are unable to see for the first 6 weeks of their lives. And so number 5 is correct, and number 1 is correct. In the next video, I'll give you some strategies, hints, and tips on another important sentence question on that particular test. See you.